Bienvenue sur ma chaîne. Welcome to my channel. Today we have another law school question video. Yeah, law school questions video for you today. I said I was going to do it once a month, but this is the second time I'm doing it this month because I have more and more questions coming in from the first video, so it's perpetuating even more questions. And I also do realize that I missed a whole bunch of questions from other videos that I negligently didn't check. So I'm going to try and cover as much as I can today within an hour. I try not to make these videos too long and drawn out because you guys would probably get very bored, and I don't want it just to drag on and on and on. So I'm going to just make as many videos as I can. I'm going to just answer what I can within a 45-minute video, and you guys seem to like them, so I will keep making them. And thank you so much for writing into me. I mean, it means a lot to me that you guys are asking me, and that means you kind of trust my judgment a bit. I mean, I'm still a student. I'm very happy to help any of you guys because I didn't have that when I first started. Just in the last 10 years, YouTube has really become more and more saturated with more law student and lawyer vlogs and YouTube channels. But I mean, every perspective is different. It's not a one size fits all, and everyone has something different to say about different schools and their own experiences. And all I can do is share mine with you guys, coming from like a multicultural, multinational background such as myself. Okay, so I am going to read one of the most recent emails I just received. Just log into my email account. iCloud. I'm so tired, but I needed to get this out or I would have like just kept procrastinating. So I am trying to become better at this. edil.dole@icloud.com. This is my email, you guys. You guys can feel free to email me whatever questions you have, and I usually respond in video form. Have trouble signing in? Oh, for fuck's sake, this is so annoying. I'm literally trying to sign on to my email right now. Unable to load mail. Are you kidding me? Hold on. Finally found it. All right. So I do keep my viewers' identities anonymous just because it's safer that way. There are people that do not want to be named out in my video, and that's totally understandable. So just to let you guys know that if you do want me to read your name out, then do please tell me in your emails and your comments to me, and I will do just that. But my default is to not reveal identities of the people who write into me, just because for the obvious reasons. Okay. Hi Tina, how are you? I hope you're really well. Did you have a good Halloween? Hello, I did have a good Halloween. It was okay considering it was COVID. We were going around and we stopped by a few uni bars, and we didn't even go inside because it just looked ridiculous and it was just so lame. But I had fun with a girlfriend and we still dressed up, and we went to Silver Diner, and the one we went to, they actually wanted to take pictures of us. So it was okay, but I really do miss like traditional Halloween. You know, I'm fine through this COVID thing. Like in the beginning, I really liked it just because I am kind of like a homebody, especially that I work in the nightlife industry normally. And since I'm studying now, it's been easier to just stay at home and chill. And since I've moved back with my parents, you know, I have everything I need, and I'm just very fortunate that I don't have any bills to pay, and I can just be with Nova and my family and just enjoy this time off from responsibility. I still have responsibilities obviously with school, but at least I don't have to like worry about rent and food and things like that. But Halloween was just a bit lame, but you know, it is what it is, and it just seems like the year has just kind of like flown by, like literally. Anyway, okay. I really enjoy your videos, so I'm taking the liberty to reach out. I hope that's okay. Of course it's okay. That's literally what I'm here for. This is why I have my channel. So you guys can reach out to me and I can try and answer your questions. And this is why this is what pushed me and motivated me to do my law school vlogs in the first place, is for people like you. I wanted to speak to you regarding your current experience as an LPC student. I'm one too. Yay, LPC sisters. Started in September and we are currently doing all our classes online. Oh no, yeah. Well, that's how it is now. I believe you are doing the ILPC. Yes, I am. I'm planning to switch the ILPC too, as I feel I'd be better off without a dedicated timetable. I was wondering if I could maybe get an idea what it's like to do the ILPC, especially since so much of it must be independent learning. 'Tis very challenging. How do you prep, etc.? Oh my god, I am the worst person to ask for this kind of advice, work, because I'm a terrible student. And do you get feedback and have access to recorded workshops? Okay, so for those of you who do not know, I am an LLM-LPC student. ILPC would be just the legal practice course alone. I do the ILLM, which is a Masters of Law joint with the legal practice course, and I'm specializing in international commercial law. So we have extra work and a dissertation at the end to earn the joint degree. Okay, so the difference would be the ILPC or the ILLM-LPC is already structured for online learning. However, on our course at the University of Law, before COVID, we had mandatory face-to-face workshops and things that we had to show up for. It was supposed to be around 4 times in that year. So I was there in January before COVID hit for a week to do my enrollment, to enroll for the induction and to gather all the law books. We were also supposed to show up for face-to-face for the client interview thing that we're doing currently this week. But because of obviously this global issue, everything got moved to online and we no longer have face-to-face anything. Exams were also supposed to be face-to-face unless you're international, and I could have organized, I could have just requested that my exams be done locally. There are only a select few designated schools that can house your exams. I'm very lucky because in America, I think there was only one. I think Georgetown Law School, which is literally only 40 minutes from me, is the only university in America, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if there was any other, but I know for sure Georgetown Uni is the one place that I could have set all my exams to be done there instead of having to fly back to London. So that's all cancelled. So everything's literally by Zoom now and Exemplify and Proctor and things like that. How do you prep? I am in a situation right now where I'm trying to keep my head above water, and I think that phrase just sums up both the bar and the LPC. You feel like you're drowning because work just keeps accumulating and piling on top of each other. I have a lot of trouble focusing at home. I study so much better outside of my house. So my biggest problem has been focus. I'm also addicted to social media and things like that, as most of us are. So I had to download the Forest app, and it does help me focus, but often it's bringing yourself to even open the Forest app. I know it sounds stupid, but I just get so distracted, and sometimes you don't want to face reality. But my best advice for you all who are about to embark on the course or who are in the middle of the course is do not let yourself fall behind. This gets me so emotional because like this is literally what I told myself before this course is that I wouldn't let myself fall behind, but I do. But I don't think I'm as bad as I think I am, just because I have done the bar before, and there's a lot of similar subjects. We do share common subjects like criminal and civil litigation, property, business, legal foundations, ethics, things like that. The only difference is we are not so litigation focused, and we have accounts like solicitors' accounts and taxation, which barristers and bar students do not have to do. So we have these things called submissions, and they are problem questions and a lot of procedural stuff that you have to learn. And it's literally the kind of work you would do if you were a trainee solicitor to a new solicitor in a law firm. As the course progresses, you go from trainee solicitor to like a new solicitor, and you have a supervisor. You always have a supervisor telling you what to do and giving you instructions and things like that. The best prep is just do your submissions. Make sure you don't leave them to the last day like I have, or you're going to drown. There's a lot of times where I only hand in half the submissions, or I'm missing one because it was just too much work. It's not so much on the LPC, it's not so much that it's difficult. One thing I do find difficult is taxation and accounts, because numbers I just abhor numbers, I can't stand them. But the rest of it, the concepts aren't hard, especially we are law students, we already have that legal brain. What's difficult is that it's all new. This isn't stuff that you do during your LLB or your GDL. This isn't academia and law. This is procedural. So while they do touch base on certain legal aspects and they will refer to cases, what the LPC is training you how to be a solicitor. It's all application of procedure within the professional legal field. So it's new. You don't know any of it. And that's what's really daunting to me, is that like, you know, if it was an essay or problem question, I could do this shit the night before and I'd be okay, like I did in my undergrad or my LLB. This, you can't do that. You have a shitload of reading. It's like reading lists for every submission, for every unit. You get a unit like every 10 days, something like that, like a week and a half, you get different submissions for all the subjects. And you have like a shitload of reading for each subject, and then you have a shitload of questions, and then a shitload of practice quizzes, But you should be working ahead to get those done. I wish I had done everything in advance, and even though they aren't mandatory, there is a very big sense of pressure upon you to get them in. Your tutors will email you asking you why you didn't submit, and if you need time, you have to give them reasonable notice for an extension, and the extensions are not always they're not guaranteed. The extensions are completely at the discretion. It's at the discretion of them. They don't have to grant it to you. So don't come in here with entitlement and all deserving that you deserve this and that. You don't deserve anything. You're just a student, as we all are. I can give you advice based on my own mistakes. Contrapositive. You know, take that and don't leave everything to last minute. That's what I always do. It's a terrible, terrible, awful habit, but it's something that has stuck with me over the years, is that I'm like the queen of procrastination. And the problem is, you can get away with it in high school and maybe your undergrad, but you cannot get away with it on a course like this. Professional legal courses like the bar and the LPC, you cannot just do things. I mean, you can do things the night before, but I wouldn't advise it. You can stress yourself out and your work is obviously not going to be as competent. You can't work to your full potential cramming everything the night before, even if you are one of those people who can do it. I was one of those people who was able to do shit the night before in high school and get good grades the next day with certain subjects like English and history and subjects I liked. But you cannot do that on this course because you don't know what you're doing. Everything is new. You don't know procedure. You're a law student. You have to read and learn about everything. So all the chapters that you're reading about and all these things that they're referring to you for you to look up and read, oh, it's new material. And you don't even know what you're doing. Like, it's like new skills that you have to understand how to carry out. So that's what's scary to me, is sometimes I just don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And then like you procrastinate because it's like, you can't even be bothered to just sit there and like learn all this new stuff again, because our brains are like so wired for academia. Like, I know how to write essays and I know how to get through a legal problem question. This is not that. Those skills are already assumed, you know, those are skills that are already expected of you, and you apply a small portion of that to this case. This is like a real functioning situation that it's set up to be. Like, you know, you get the email from your supervisor and, oh, I need you to do this and do this and do that, and you have to learn how to do it from reading the chapters, and then they give you exemplars at the end, so you can refer to the exemplars and see how things were done, and then you have to apply it. But what makes the LPC difficult, just like the bar, is that this is unfamiliar territory. This is not stuff we did during law school. This is not legal concepts in case law and cases, and this is not law. This is the practice of law, and that's a whole new skill set that you don't know, and that's why you're here. Okay, on to the next question. And did you get feedback and have access to recorded workshops? Okay, so we don't have like live lecture recordings, but we have all the material that is uploaded like from all of the campuses within the University of Law, which is great. And we do have recorded recorded lectures and recorded lectures and introductions to the topics and things that we need to know. And all the tutors, they will record themselves and we have the links to them. Honestly, I've said this in my last video, but the materials at the University of Law are very digestible. They're really easy to get through. I think the materials are great. I know a lot of people have been complaining about the communication and how, you know, they're not on top of it and how they should have done this and this better. But if you can have the discipline to self-study, all the material's there for you. You just have to get through it. There's some level of incompetency and disappointment you're going to experience with every school, because with this global pandemic, nobody was really, how could they be 100% prepared? So you have to kind of expect some level of fallback and some level of, I don't want to say disappointment, but like, you have to expect that the schools are not going to be perfect. They're still run by humans. There has to be some level of error expected because of this global thing that we're going through. So they're not going to be perfect. So do not expect perfection. But as far as it has been for me and the way this course has been, as long as you are competent within yourself to find things on your own, things like that, all the material is there for you. You just literally have to go through it and open it and absorb it and read it. So the discipline really comes from within yourself. Okay. I'm currently in panic mode, LOL. Oh God, darling, aren't we all? Trust me, I am panicking in the back of my head, even when I look zen and I look calm. The course is always in the back of my head, just reminding me of how much I'm drowning. I totally get it. And I feel like most of us feel that way than not. As I haven't done much note-taking or consolidation and things are piling up fast. Story of my life, sis. Story of my life. I am terrible at prep and being and having my shit together early. I don't think I've handed anything in early ever, unless it was a mistake, which I did do earlier this year. But the consolidation and note making and things like that, I'm not so great at either. But I have noticed something that I started doing that is kind of helpful. So for every unit task, so every topic has the units, right? You're like unit 1 to unit 9, whatever, and that's, you have a new unit every week and a half where you hand in your submissions for each topic. Every unit for every subject has a guide sheet and a task sheet. They're pretty much similar. One kind of tells you what you're about to do and the other tells you what it is. The great thing is they do repeat themselves often. It really gets into your head as you go through the materials. They really set out these materials and break it down for you that it really gets absorbed just by the way it's laid out. I can't even explain it to you. But I found it helpful to summarize the guide and the task. So I kind of like, let me see if I can actually show you. I have to find my binder. Okay. So, for example, seriously? Okay. This is what I wrote for International Commercial Law, Unit 1. Okay. Read. So I put the reading stuff. Even though I have the reading list on my computer, I find it beneficial to actually write it down. Read chapters 1 to 5, 6 to 6.2.3. As a law student, you know that we have a lot of paragraphs with 100 different periods and numbers because they individualize each paragraph and things like that. 7, 8.1, then 10 to 10.4. Case study on Floydex. Floydex is our fake client. Statutory provisions, price, payment, delivery. So these are the different subcategories of statutory provisions. It's late. Please ignore my ratchet nails. Oh my God. Okay. Sale of Goods Act 1979. These are the important, this is the law that we have to be dealing with and applying to our client's case. So subsection 8, 10, 16, 17, 20, blah, blah, I wrote it all down. Look at the following documents in textbook: contract, structure and terms, commercial contracts. So there's some law here. You're going to be reminiscing about things you did in your LLB. Only interpretations, boilerplate agreement, the practice note, blah, blah. And you can see I did this for like each unit. I just kind of set out everything on one page, just so I kind of had like this little guide plan of what to do next instead of sift through the actual guide and task. You could just put it, I just put the salient points in just like little sections here and color code it, so it's just easier for me to look at. Okay, so this is the kind of summary I do. So that's the prep summary, okay? So this is the kind of summary I do when I summarize the actual task. So this is International Commercial Law, blah, blah, blah. International Commercial Law Guide, Unit 4. So this is the 4th submission for International Commercial. It says International Sales Contracts, Transport Agreements plus Related Matters, Journey of the Goods in an International Sales Arrangement, multinational transport solicitor responsible for documenting transport arrangements. That's us. Incoterms produced by ICC, 11 different types of arrangements. I like to do my notes like this, kind of arrows pointing in different things. So it's not just like boring sentences and paragraphs and hard to read. I just kind of like setting it up like this. Choice of law plus jurisdiction. A solicitor may be asked to advise a client in two situations, A and B, on international rules that apply when seller failed to indicate to the sales contract which country's law and or jurisdiction is to apply to the sales contract, his or buyer's, and B, where seller's express choice of law and jurisdiction in a sales contract may be overridden by international rules on law and jurisdiction, depending on nature of dispute and identity of buyer. So there's like rules that we have to learn as we go along so we can apply them to the client's case. We can apply them to the client's case and appropriately advise. So I write again what we need to do. A solicitor needs to, boom, identify main options available to parties when making a choice of jurisdiction or choice of law in an international commercial sale. See, this is not things we learn in law school. This is stuff that a lawyer needs to be doing. So we're learning about rules and how to address this situation and how to deal with the problem and what is expected of us as solicitors. What kinds of things do we have to sort out? What kinds of things do we have to solve for the client? And everything has to be done a certain way. Choose an appropriate Incoterm arrangement from C or F terms and consequences of it. Explain how position of parties in an international sale can be improved by specific transport arrangements, bills of exchange and documentary credit. Advise on the consequences of loss or damage to goods in an international sale. So you are setting out, you basically obviously have to take the instructions, what's being asked of you. So you have to do what's being asked of you. And that includes like finding out how your client can do what they want to do without breaking any laws or rules. You have to set out often the options, different ways they can get from point A to point B. What other options you advise, consequences each option has, what happens in different situations if they choose A, B, or C. You're basically setting out in simple terms for the client to understand how best to go about what they need to go about to get the shit sorted. And see, so under international sales, it's like demonstrate your ability to identify appropriate transport arrangements and advise on financial arrangements and protection available to the seller in an international sale agreement. I'm going to tell you, well, we want to do this. As a solicitor, a lawyer, an attorney, I don't think any American students are watching me, but as a solicitor, you are expected to tell your client how to do what they want to do, the ways they can do what they want to do, and what consequences are linked to the method that they choose and what they want to do. Like if things go wrong, what's going to happen in each scenario depending on what they choose. Advise on suitability of different Incoterms. So you're also asked to like advise on suitability of different Incoterms. What is that? Like you basically have to tell them, according to the situation and the details of the situation, what kind of thing would be most suitable to them. But always, it's really up to them what they want to decide. And as a lawyer, you have to give them the best possible advice. And that really, it's not really telling them what to do, but you are laying out the facts and making it coherent and cohesive and comprehensible enough for them to understand, to choose the most appropriate method for them. You don't tell them what to do, but your job is to literally advise them on what you think would be the best thing for them to do. And ultimately it's for them to decide. So as a lawyer, you have to be careful to know your shit so you can appropriately advise them so that they do make the best choice within their best interest, because your client is your number one priority. Their interests and what they want to do is what is the most important thing, is that you help them carry out their objective. Steps needed to be followed for seller to be paid under the bill of exchange, possibility of acceleration of payment, how seller can arrange and enforce a guarantee by using letters of credit, write a letter with the following headings, transport arrangements, commercial documents. So you are given a specific task in each unit, and it's literally about you following instructions carefully. As a lawyer, as a solicitor, you have to pay attention to detail. This is what we went to school for. This is what we get paid for. You do not have room and you cannot afford to be sloppy and mess up. This is why we're here in this course, is to hone our skills of perfection. As a lawyer, your English has to be perfect. Your writing has to be perfect. Everything we do on paper needs to be perfect. Obviously, mistakes will happen, but as a professional solicitor, you really have to try your absolute best to be as perfect as you possibly can. And it's not about being unrealistic. It's about being very meticulous and the attention to detail, just being thorough and careful when you do these things, no rushing, because you don't want to screw up your client's objective. This is what they pay solicitors for, because they want everything to go as smooth as possible, and at the end of the day they just want to get this thing done. So we can look at here under wills and administration of estates. I'm going to tell you, just like applying for the grant and taxation. Courts, probate registries grant authority to those entitled to obtain such a grant to administer the estate. So a lot of the things we're learning about is how things are done within the industry. Then law is applied in certain areas, but this is overall how to help your client. You're given a whole bunch of scenarios and problems, and you have to learn how to deal with these problems and how to resolve and advise. See, solicitors must calculate IHT payable on estate and how to fund it. So that's like tax stuff, right? So you calculate taxes, identify those entitled to inherit or take grant and representation under a will, identify info required and draft arrangements to be signed. You have to know the case very well. It's all about paying attention to detail, being very meticulous and thorough with the information, so you know the facts, you know the rules, and you know how to carry out the tasks, the objective of the client as best as you can possibly do that. So you learning how to do all these things that are asked of you so you can help your client fulfill their objective. And that means you have to learn all the rules and you have to know the law. Law is just a smaller fraction of the overall picture. You have to know how to do it. And you just have to do all, you have to be competent. Basically, you have to know your shit. And this is why we're doing this course, right? Because when you walk into a law firm and they're like, this, and this happened, we don't want to be sued, or we want to do this in the cheapest way possible, or we have this major dilemma, but we still want to maintain a relationship with the other party. We need your help. We need this to be done, but we don't know how to do it. So as a solicitor, you need to know how to do all this shit. That's what makes this course hard, because we're law students, we're not solicitors yet, and I don't know how to do any of this shit. So this is what we're learning, and this is what the course is all about. So you are able to walk into a law firm, and hopefully anything that's thrown at you, all these issues these companies are facing, you will know how to do it. You'll be like, oh, actually, I dealt with a similar case back in the LPC, and I remember something to do with this. So you are familiar with most. You're not always going to know every single one, but hopefully you will be familiar as you have familiarized yourself with a variety of diverse scenarios and situations given to you, and all these different kinds of tasks expected of you as a solicitor to deal with your client and to carry out their objective. Okay, I was wondering if I could get an understanding of the dashboard and elite. Okay, is it possible to speak to you via Zoom or any other means and maybe have a peek to the ILPC mode of study? Apologies if that's too intrusive. I just don't know who else to ask, and I haven't had much luck with student services at uni. It would be great to know how you prep and if you found a method to this madness. Well said. That's really our world, isn't it? Madness. Well, it would be great to get connected, and sorry for the volley of queries. Hope to hear from you. Sending plenty of cheer from cold London. Oh, I really enjoyed reading that. Thank you so much for writing into me. During these COVID times, it is really nice to have other law students and my law family all over the world write to me. It is very heartwarming, and I am very happy to give you advice as to my knowledge as I can. So I'm thinking about the whole elite thing. So for those of you who don't know, elite is the database that we use, our school system that the University of Law uses. The whole interface has improved and changed, but it completely changed. So I'm going to do a separate video on that. I'm sure there are other students who would like to know, so I just want to do a video of just getting into the whole elite system. But thank you so much for writing in. Again, I will be going through more law questions, and I'm going to try and do another video hopefully soon enough, if not tomorrow, the day after, but definitely this week I will do another law question video. Stay tuned, keep watching, and thank you again for all of your kind comments and you writing in. Keep them coming. I have no problem answering. I do have time right now, even though I am studying, I am at home, I don't have a job, so I can definitely do my best and try and answer all your questions. I hope you guys have a lovely week. Mwah! Wishing you the best. Please don't lose hope. I know so many of you law students are always contemplating on either jumping off a bridge or quitting law school altogether. It is very difficult, but keep your eye on the prize. And if you don't like law, maybe ask yourself why you're in it. I say that a lot. Some people just want law because they think it sounds cool, or they think, you know, it's good to have an option. But I think there's no point on making yourself suffer and putting yourself through such soul-destroying mindfuckery unless you actually love it. So anyway, goodbye.